drunk, and some people actually commit suicide when their lovers leave them, you see, and so forth. So often then this love, this euphoria that we feel for other individuals is a euphoria based on the fact that they have taken us from truth and taking us from reality and taking us outside of us. That's one reason why we say love is what? Blind. Blinds the individual to reality. So that person you're in love with is not, and who claims to love you back, particularly if that love feeds your self-hatred or helps you to escape your own reality, is not doing you a favor. As a matter of fact, they are part of the problem. That is why often the ones we love are the ones who what? Hurt us and destroy us. In a way, we almost set ourselves up for it when our love is based on unhealthy roots. The consequences of the fear instinct. There's also fear there as well. We often hate the things we fear. The love for our aggressors come out of fear. What I mean by that, you know, a very peculiar thing happens. You ever ask yourself the question, the Europeans enslaved us, hundreds of thousands of our ancestors died on the ships coming over here, and some of you youngsters and others, when you have a chance to read about how the African was transported over to this country, if it doesn't fill you with hurt and tears, then of course I guess, I don't know, it's hard to describe what you would be. Take time and read this kind of situation where people had to go for weeks at a time with no headroom, with maybe about this much room between them and the floor where they could never stand up, where they laid down on the rough planks and the sea, as it moved the ship, rubbed the very skin and meat off their bones, where they had to lay in their own urination and their own defecation, where they were chained often to people who were dead next door to them and so forth. Look at that kind of thing. You see, many of us can only love our enemies because we haven't read it and we forgot. Many of us don't want to read it because it does fill us with anger and hatred and fear and so forth. Many of us avoid Black history because we try to avoid the fear and the anger and the bad feelings it's going to produce in us. But when we avoid it, it also means that we avoid knowing ourselves and who we are as a people. Of course, the slavery is another adventure. Jim Crowism, racial discrimination, all of this. Yet at the end of all of this, why is it that we want to marry these people? Why is it that we want to sleep with them and live with them and roll with them? Why is it we just forget all of the things that they have done to our grandparents and our great-grandparents and the things they're doing to us right now and the things they're going to do to us in the future? See, why do we do that, you see? Why do we want hair like them? Why do we want noses like them? Why do we want skin color like them? Why do we want to talk like them and walk like them and be like them after they've done all of this kind of stuff to us as a people? Why do we love them more than we love ourselves? Have you ever thought about that kind of issue? And yet this happens all the time. And it is a very standard thing in psychology. We call it love for the aggressor. Identity with the aggressor, where one loves the one that persecutes them in an unhealthy sort of way and identifies with the person that persecutes them. This goes on in families. We don't have time to go into the psychological details of this, but this is a part of what Freud talked about when he talked about the Oedipus complex.